Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, and holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing. If you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for
Hello, bonjour, howdy, says Hector. I think that there are some milestones that we need to be mindful of, so let's scroll back. Yes, there it is. Look at that. Oh, you look good in gold, Mikey. Hello, and that was 14 months of support. You're very, very special around here. You should feel special. You are have always been a huge supporter of the channel, and we love you. So thank you so much. You saw thumbnails of this all over. I bet even I made a thumbnail. But well, then we should probably get into it, right? I think we're gonna enjoy this together. Rose and I were talking all day. Brooklyn, today on the menu, we actually have so much stuff that we can't cover it all today. We're going to have a great week going on. So I'm excited for that. I also heard requests for me to be back in the kitchen. I've explained this before, but you know what? Your wishes are my command. So we shall be back in the kitchen this week. What's on my shirt? Anyways, let's get going. I hope that everybody is doing well today. Tell me what you had for dinner. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. Also, tell me the last time you changed or cleaned your dishwasher's filter. Yeah, that's right. Tell me more, like, does he have a dishwasher? Tell me more, does he clean it out? In case you can't guess, I did that today. A Valentine's cooking kitchen chat. We could probably do that. Okay. Let's go with the case. Ooh, you're so smart, Paisley. You're so smart today. It's not in there, dumbass. Please hold while I find it. Also, I think that we together, Rose, watched this original OG hearing, and so he didn't show up. Blue guy didn't show up originally.
Yep.
But the girl did.
You're all set. Rachel Berglund and Simon Ionashku. Ms. Berglund, if you would activate your video, please.
Hi, Casey Carey. Activate your video, Miss Berglund.
Thank you. If you would both raise your right hands for me. Swear the testimony in this case will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ionashku, I need to hear from you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, and also from me, yes, Your Honor. And secondly, I would like us all to note that oh fuck. What was I Oh no, my brain's fucked up. What was I thinking of? Oh, he's the one that went to Tennessee, if you'll recall. Hi, Julie, swinging by to say hi. He is the one that went to Tennessee, if you'll recall, and sort of flouted the judge's order. I think it was just 2 weeks ago now. So I don't know what he does, Courtney. We're gonna find there's gonna be some alluding to, but you know, and I made a conscious decision, though she is much better looking than him. And Rachel, if you're watching this, please know that, sweetie. I didn't choose to put you on the thumbnail only for you. I could have, but I didn't. Maybe I'm revealing how I feel about this case already, but we went with 3 Simons instead. So, without further ado, let's get this fucking show on the road. Okay? Also, the judge he just loves to command with silence, which that is a skill I have never mastered. I've tried. I try a lot to command with silence, but inevitably, internal Paisley voice fucking screams. We've played the 2 minutes of silence game on here before. I fail often.
All right, I'm very familiar with Ms. Berglund's complaints or allegations because we previously had a hearing. It was at which Mr. Ianashku was not present. He has subsequently been served as present today. And what I've seen from the evidence submitted by Ms. Berglund is that she's repeatedly telling Mr. Ianashku to
Oh, I remember now
stop
what I. Hey,
contacting her,
Judge!
and every time.
Judge! Please don't speak over me. First of all, hi, Bring the Mess TV, welcome. And secondly, these aren't my captions. They're built into Zoom, can't turn them off. So, but they're funny. Let's read them as we go, some of them. There's a few little spots.
If she does, he uses that as an he then responds and frequently uses his state of mind as a reason for why he's continuing to respond. Mr. Ianashku?
Yes, Your Honor.
You in Tennessee? That's a question. Are you in Tennessee?
Yeah, yes, I'm in Tennessee. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the song goes, all my exes live in Texas. That's why I hang my hat in Tennessee. So he's got it backwards, bro. Yeah, backwards. Although he ran away from Washington to Tennessee, I'll point out, allegedly. Allegedly. Also, I just want you guys to keep in mind, at one point in this hearing, he has some idea that the judge may have read some of his deep ramblings to this woman. Just keep an eye out for that.
You have, I'm pretty familiar with Ms. Berglund's case, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So first of all, there's a couple of blatantly false accusations here in this report that I'd like to cover. But first, I want to start with an apology.
No, you're not speaking to her. This is not an opportunity. You are just addressing me on the legal issue of whether you have engaged in harassment. This isn't an opportunity to have any relationship with Ms. Berglund. So speak as to that issue.
Right. I didn't think I was harassing her. I thought she welcomed most of my advances.
Most? You just gave yourself away already, bro. Most of them she was fine with. I mean, some of them, even I'm not fine with, Judge. Those are shame nights, you know? Just shame nights. But, you can't fool this judge. This judge is so serious. I love it. I love it. He's great at just shutting this shit down. He's like, you're not about to use my fucking court to address this woman and give her an apology. Judge sort of, oh, I'm excited.
Truly, well, I believed it at the time simply because, well, first of all, let me just say, she claims here that I went on her military base and that I tried to contact her and that I was hanging out in the area. Okay, that is a completely false claim. And I want to make this clear. I never stalked her. Okay, I never went out of my way to hang out where she might be or anything of that nature. Okay, that is a completely false accusation. Okay. Now, here in her testimony, she claims that I that she told me repeatedly to stop over and over and over again. Your Honor, that's simply not true. Okay, it's not true. I sent her over 115 emails in total. Okay.
Red flag. Where's that red flag guy? Red flag guy. The red flag guy. That's a lot of emails, bro. How many did she respond to? Did any of them say, can you stop talking to me? Because that's a lot. 150 text messages, not a lot. 150 emails, a lot. Isn't that funny how that works? Also, I'm getting inside details from the guys in the truck that's not him. No fucking way. Ah! I'm gonna have to decide what to do with that information.
She told me to stop one time, okay, around email number 63. Okay, now she was firm in her response. I will acknowledge that. Okay, but Your Honor, I'm a hopeless romantic. Okay, it's gonna take more than one response to get me to stop.
I'm a hopeless romantic, Your Honor. I dress like this. You guys, that's him. That's the hopeless romantic. Is that a photo booth of a cowboy? Like, did he bring the hat himself, do you think? Or is this like his Tennessee cosplay? I'm trying to get it. I have a lot of lights in here. There's a lot of lighting going on that is making this exceedingly difficult. Oh my god. Ah! Julie! Ah! I just noticed his little duck face. Julie, thank you so much. I'm concerned for this girl. Also, this was on the interwebs, sir. Oh my fucking god. I think that is him. That's a Hyundai P him. That's not even AI generated him. Whew. We lost 7 people. I choose to believe they've gone to look him up. Not that they left us. There's 7 kindred spirits who went to look him up.
You were told to stop. You can explain to me why you didn't stop. You said you're a hopeless romantic. Okay, go ahead.
Well, yes, but the reason I didn't stop is for 2 reasons. First of all, okay, I continued sending her emails, but I also continued sending her money. Okay. I sent her financial compensation. And if you read the entire email thread, I don't know, did she submit like all of the emails or just samples from the emails?
How would I know? I have emails here and messages.
Okay. Well, that's fine. The point is that I have no interest in submitting all of it because there's a lot of stuff there that's personal and deeply intimate. There was sort of an implied agreement between us. Okay. She's my muse. Okay. She inspires my work. I've explained this to her over and over and over again. And
I fucking talked to her about this so many times. Rachel, you're my muse, okay? You have to be there for me to be a muse. I really can't tell you how little fucks I give about your feelings on the subject because you are my muse. Sir, this is not. When would that even be appropriate? This is not the Renaissance, and you are not some fucking royal artist. Okay? What is going on here? Oh, Bill's here. Excellent. I mean, what you mean is she's your inspiration. She's your conduit to creativity, which, I mean, first of all, I should write that down. That's a good title. I'm going to put that on my resume. I'm a conduit to creativity, aka a muse. I'll offer my services.
I was sending her money in exchange for the implied muse services. And if you really like read the chain of events that happened, and it's all very well documented in those emails, okay? Miss Berglund accepted, she never, I don't see any complaints about all the money that I sent.
Well, hold on. I need to point something out, Carol. Was she taking his money and then trying to use him? I don't know what you mean by use him. He's allowed. They are allowed to engage in an adult relationship in which he sends her money because it makes him happy to see her happy, and she accepts the money, and he seems to get something out of it, i.e., her being the muse. Now, adults are also allowed to say, hey, you've crossed a line. I don't feel comfortable with this anymore, and cease that relationship, or to draw firm boundaries. Just because she accepts money from him that he seems to freely send her doesn't mean that she owes him anything more than what they're already agreed to. So I don't like the sort of implication of like, oh, well, I kept sending her money and therefore she has to let me in deeper. That's not how that works. But on the other hand, there is a very fine line of balance when you are exchanging services with somebody on the internet. Let's say that.
Her. But I can also show from the record, not only did she accept financial compensation for implied muse services, she also actively participated in rendering of muse services by posting photos on a social media account that are consistent with the content described in the emails. Okay. So she was cooperating. Yes, after she told me to stop, she was like actively cooperating. Now, I understand what happened. At one point, I went too far, and I acknowledge that. Okay. I got a little carried away with fantasies. It's true. Okay.
Oh, sir. That sounds like yucky. And again, just because she posted on social media, see, this is where we have danger issues. But the reality is, I don't know. It's very difficult. Very difficult situation. He's just snitching on himself again. He seems very obsessed. Also, what is he creating that he needs a muse for? I'm a muse available. I would be the most annoying muse in the world. He would be trying to get a TPO against me.
But there was a point after she asked me to stop where she seemed to me to cooperate with the implied agreement that we had entered.
So I'll quote you, I have this old school warrior conquer through persistence, overcome all obstacles mentality when I really, really want something.
Yes, this is true.
Oh, sir! You just made the judge read that smut out loud. Sashina, this sounds like it could be taken from one of your books. No offense meant, by the way. Sashina's a great author. He has to have a muse. No, I'm seriously though. Like, seriously. The judge just had to read aloud some of this, and at this point the dude's like, oh my god, has he been reading all this shit that I've been sending her? Because you know he's crying about something in there, and you know he's talking about other things. Oh dear. Yeah, he's making me a bit itchy too. And the fact that he's in Tennessee and he doesn't think he's done anything wrong, you know, here's the thing. Sending somebody money via Cash App or whatever you do, if you have a no contact order, is a violation of that no contact order. It doesn't matter what the goodwill behind it is. So, again, she wasn't reaching into his bank account, nor it doesn't seem like even asking for money, reaching out to him. You know, there's this weird line where implied consent means she didn't actually consent. It was an implication that Simon took, and Simon isn't very good at implications. Okay. Phone, calm down.
Yeah, and you said, I don't know why I keep beating this dead horse. It's time to move on. But, and then you have paragraphs after that where you recognize what you're doing. Then you say, listen, I've been extremely unprofessional. It's very inappropriate, but I will continue my conversation. So, and I'm looking at a prior email which says in all caps, leave me alone. It doesn't say, you know, explain to me why you want to keep talking to me. It says, leave me alone.
Yes, but Your Honor, in the emails that followed, I promised her that she's inspired ideas that are gonna make millions of dollars. And I offered to share my wealth with her, and she seemed like open to that suggestion at one point. Okay.
Oh my god, you don't say! You don't say that somebody was open to the suggestion of being shared wealth with. Also, Simon, get on the ideas. You've already had them. She's a far from them. So go make your millions, then come back. You're out of order. What in the fuck is going on? This is so dangerous. Oh, remember he ran to his parents when he thought that this was about to happen.
Okay. Now, at some point, I got a little carried away. It's true. I went a little too far. Okay. But the thing is, if you read the email chain, I told her over and over again. I said, if this bothers you, if any of this is like, you want me to stop, simply reply with the word stop. Okay.
Okay. Wow, what a gaslighter. She wrote back in all caps, leave me alone. And he was like, well, she didn't say stop. This is not a safe word, bro. This is not a sexual encounter. This is the literal, like, there's no misunderstanding that. That's not acceptable. Have dignity. Have some dignity. Walk away. Find another muse. But He's gonna be mean about it in a moment here. He's gonna be like, "Phew, phew, phew, meow. I'm a little baby."
Okay. That's all she had to do was to say stop. And yes, I kind of pushed her because I was trying to provoke a reaction from her. I was not expecting this. I was expecting her to reply via email with a simple word, right? Because any normal woman, would, she's so stubborn. Like any normal woman would have like just replied via email. She wouldn't have been go to this extent. This is absurd, in my opinion.
It's so loud and clear though, bro. And yeah, she's on the screen. Rachel, that's the woman. But she ain't no normal woman. No, bro, do you know what some normal women would do with that kind of behavior? Simon? Seriously. I have a funny feeling you would not be amused with it.
And so I found it interesting that after you found out that being in Tennessee wasn't going to be the preventive measure to keep Ms. Berglund from seeking this order, when the sheriff showed up at your parents' house to serve you, you then responded by once again sending a rather extensive email to Ms. Berglund. After you already knew she'd taken legal action to get you to stop, you decided you needed to weigh in one more time, saying, okay, this will be the last time I do it. The last time I disregard your prior request will be this one. And you said, technically, I haven't done anything wrong because I wasn't served. I wasn't there. So sort of like, nah, 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 nah. Yeah.
Well, I meant what I said. I'm moving on. I have no
All right.
interest
That's a good
in
thing.
her anymore. And I want this matter to come to an end, and I will find a different muse. I will move on. There are plenty of fish in the sea. I just thought I was under the impression that she was receptive to my advances.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. All the future women need to be careful. Very concerning. That's so concerning. He is super hurt right now. He's lashing out because he's hurt. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Then get fucking fishing, bro. Get the fuck out of Rachel's life. She's begged you to, and instead of going away, you're fighting this. Ugh. I would be very, very, very surprised if he doesn't have a shrine of her, allegedly.
She was not.
Wait, is Mikey Creed's muse or is Creed Mikey's muse? He does not look happy with my comment. Whatever, bro. Whatever. So Rachel, is in Washington State, and he is in Tennessee. And he's pissed. He's back in his old bedroom that his parents paid for, and he's got all his equipment for his musing. There is that fine line, NPC, and I welcome that kind of stalking. Be very careful how I say that. He looks so upset right now, though. He looks like he definitely got AI to make them future baby pictures. You know? That's the kind of muse he's had. He's like, yeah, I use her photos that she posts on her Instagram so that I can make our future babies pictures. I have 17 generations or iterations of that, and none of them are perfect yet. When I do get the perfect one, I will breed her.
Ms. Berglund, is there anything more you would like to say? You're muted.
Your Honor, everything that I've submitted is true, and I trust your ability to judge the respondent's commentary as being untrue. If you have any specific questions that I haven't already answered, I can answer them, but I trust your ability to judge the situation.
All right, thank you.
I think it's just vocal fry, y'all. I honestly think that's what it is. She's not as high. She sounded like this last time too. Also, it would be very stressful to deal with this fucker. I wouldn't blame her.
Based
for
on
taking
the level of persistence, as you using your word, Mr. Ionescu, am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Yeah, pretty good. You're doing a pretty good job. Yeah.
Honestly, I have a pretty high level of concern. I mean, frankly, I hope your family members are there with you, or they're watching on YouTube and they're finding out things that maybe would cause them the same level of concern and can help you with it. Because it's totally inappropriate, and you place Ms. Berglund in a position where she has a high degree of fear based on your inability to let go when she keeps telling you to stop, and you run right through that barrier. Every time she tells you, you say one last time, and then you continue. Anyway, it's highly concerning. It's behavior that we see in folks that end up in much more egregious situations, much more dangerous situations. And I want to make sure that you understand that, and that the behaviors I'm seeing are precursors and with some regularity to really bad events. So let's cut this one off before it becomes worse. I will grant the request for the order you are to have, and it's me telling you, it's not Ms. Berglund telling you in all caps, it's me telling you, you're to have no contact with her whatsoever.
No contact whatsoever. Did you hear that, NPC? Thank you so much for that stalking charge. I love that. I love that. Oh, love it. And Judge is not impressed. Simon is perplexed. This is not how he visualized this going down, guys. Simon did not visualize this going down like this. He actually thought that his apology would make Rachel fall in love with him, that she would finally break down in front of the judge and ask him, no, beg him, the judge, to marry them finally so they could be together, breed the 17th iteration of the DNA match via the AI program, and finally be together. But instead, she's being so untraditional over here, just telling him to go away. And the judge doesn't even understand. Thank you, Cellulite Yoga Pants. 14 months, baby. Untraditional. I I'm trying to not believe that this guy has some trad wife life goals. I hope I'm wrong, but my vibes are getting that. And I love being a trad wife lady, but not to this kind of jerk. Like, yuck. No.
You're not to
Agreed,
go within
agreed.
1,000 feet of her, her home, her workplace. Ms. Berglund, this
May I add
order
an
will be in
additional
effect for 1 year
commentary?
from today's date. If you want it renewed, you can come back to court and ask for it to be renewed. A copy of the order will be available to each of you in the district court file. There does not need to be service since Mr. Ianashku appeared in person today. All right, thank you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome.
He wants to ponder the life of yonder that he lives. That's what he does.
Talia Woods, Brandon Williams.
Now this case, you guys, I think is
Ms.
maybe
Woods, if
more
you'd
fucked up.
activate your video.
Carol, we're so glad to have you here. 8 months. That's amazing. Simon's gonna sit here for a while, but this case, you guys, I think is even more nuts than the one before. I'm as always, Thurston County just makes me fucking baffled. Also, speaking of trad wives, no, these are TPO hearings, Brooklyn. These are all TPO hearings today. But my third sourdough starter is on the start. John, 5 months. Simon is hanging around for a new muse. Simon may find me amusing. I doubt it. I don't think he'll like my commentary, but we'll see. Again, we don't put his name in the title, so it's not, because I guarantee he Googles himself for fucking sure. For fucking sure, allegedly.
You there? Ms. Woods, there we go. Thank you. Yeah,
There we go.
okay, I have your audio. Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to need you to
Okay,
keep
perfect.
very close track of these
Thank you.
allegations.
Mhm.
And if you both raise your right hands for me, please.
Yes,
Swear that testimony in this case to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
yes,
And Mr. Williams? Is that a yes, Mr. Williams?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, yeah, we have to record everybody's responses, so I need out loud responses. Thank you.
Did y'all hear that? He needs out loud responses. I'm over here touching my phone, fucking it up. Also, my nails are holding up so well. Look how nice they look.
And
Judge!
Ms.
I have
Woods,
filed
you
them twice.
indicated you went to Subway to get a sandwich and there was an issue. And ultimately that Mr. Williams got upset with, I'm not sure what, his belief that you mistreated staff or something, and then called you, you said 100 times.
yeah. So
We need to back that train up. Anyways, yes, they are French tip with there's glitter in them and they're so pretty. I love it. This, you guys, we have to listen to this part. We have to be listening. Also, I'm hoping that these will last me another 10 days. Can we make it? I think we can. Can we make it? Yes, we can!
And Ms. Woods, you indicated you went to Subway to get a sandwich and there was an issue. And ultimately that Mr. Williams got upset with, I'm not sure what, his belief that you mistreated staff or something, and then called you, you said 100 times.
Yeah, so I have been receiving multiple harassing phone calls, and it started since November the 21st after I left that sandwich shop. And I believe that they may have given that phone number to like a family member or somebody. So all the numbers that have been calling me, like it was multiple threatening, harassing calls, and I made attempts to block those numbers as well. So when I trace, like look back at the numbers, it all goes back to Brandon Williams, and then it goes back to that same address. And so every day I have to pass this sandwich shop and I don't feel safe. I'm a single woman. I live by myself. And, just passing it every day by my job, I just don't feel safe. I work 5 days a week and I have to drive past that establishment. And I've been receiving a high volume of calls still. So I have screenshots that I presented to show that I have been receiving multiple phone calls from those numbers. Some numbers are from block numbers, but when I pick it up, it's the same voice, and I'm indicating to stop calling me, stop harassing my phone. Each time I find out that it's that voice on the other end, the same voice, same male voice threatening, I make attempts to block the number. And I just want to stop any form of contact. I just don't want any contact made anymore by this person. I don't want to be harassed anymore. And that's why I just wanted to put the legal proceedings in place so that I can feel safe.
All right. So you said you received calls from a variety of numbers, and you said that you did research on those numbers and they all came back to Mr. Williams. Is that
Yes, yes, they've all came back to that same person, same address. Um, it's all from the same person. Yes, and
okay?
it's
And
just that.
have you
Mhm.
ever met Mr. Williams?
I have not met this person, but it's just been multiple phone calls from my phone. And when I pick up, it's the same male voice and it's a threat, making threats, just harassing repeatedly.
What the fuck did she say at the subway to make somebody so mad? I'm being serious. It is one thing to make like one sort of crank call to somebody, but like repeated call. What did she do at that subway that would anger somebody so much? Also, does he work at the subway? Is that what's going on here? He works there? This would be terrible on your employee review. Brandon's great at making sandwiches. He's really good at it. But we found an issue. When people complain, he calls them hundreds of times. Also, how did they get her phone number at the subway? Like, what in the fuck is going on in this situation?
And just calls back to back to back. And then when I traced it, all the numbers come back to this person and to that address.
All right, thank you.
Hmm.
And what's the address it comes back to?
Yeah, so it comes back to a Greenwood, Indiana address, and I have it. I have I have it screenshotted too, and I can share that with you as well. Let me find it here.
Okay, well, let me just ask Mr. Williams, are you in Greenwood, Indiana?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm in Greenwood, Indiana.
Okay. All right. Mr. Williams, go ahead.
Okay, well, Your Honor, I don't know if you had an opportunity to look at the evidence that was presented late. And this was because the first time I ever heard of anything about this case or what Miss Woods is talking about is on the 21st of this month when I was served by the sheriff saying, hey, you've got this, this hearing to go to. Um, if you look at the evidence, I don't know if you have it in front of you. Number one,
No, I don't have anything that you have filed.
okay, Your Honor. The number that Miss Woods is talking about that I'm associated with is not registered to me. It is a Verizon jetpack that was disconnected from me in 2023. And I have the evidence here, and you could probably see it once you're. We did file a little bit later, so that information is in there. But that jetpack, which basically just gives you internet, it's not a phone. So this is the number that is currently not connected to anything, and this hasn't been used since 2023. So that number is like a spoof number that someone is using in order to make these particular phone calls to Miss Woods. Secondly, I live in Greenwood, Indiana. I'm not associated with anyone in Washington State. I haven't been to Washington State in over 5 years. I don't know what the Subway location is. I have no connection to anyone at Subway or anything like that. And so for Ms. Woods to claim in her statement that she did her research, I did research on that number as well. And it came back with, it was registered to no one. But I looked up my own phone number, my 360 phone number, and both of my phone numbers that she articulated in the in her statement came up with my name. And so my big question is, if she did the research, I don't know what research she's done, except the fact that maybe she went to see some public records that are like old names connected with phone numbers or old phone numbers. And she just took that number and associated me with it without understanding that it's an old phone number that I'm no longer registered to. And I think that's the leap that right now she's taking in order to unwittingly falsely accuse me of something that I have no idea what's going on about this. So, but some things that I looked at and the evidence from my perspective is when I looked at the statement that Miss Woods was saying that someone threatening called her from Subway, it was an unusual thing to go back into Subway after you felt so threatened that she went back into Subway to take on these people who apparently had said, I'm going to hurt you. And she goes back into Subway to face them. And it seems like there's a connection that I'm not privy to. And I'm being wrapped into it because instead of going through the Subway chain of command, if you were, it's just filing a petition against a phone number. And
The Subway chain of command is not being followed, MB. Subway chain of command needs to be followed. We love you always. Please note, actually, here's a pro tip for you. When you start a job somewhere, ask them for an org chart, an organization chart. Nobody asks for these, but they exist, and they have to exist most places. And they're just like little charts that show you who everybody is, where they work. Very good for finding jobs. I once started at a place and I asked for the org chart, and then I just circled all the empty positions. I was like, so which one of these jobs is going to be for me? They laughed. I was like, I'm not kidding. Like, let's sort that out. And it did work. But the Subway org chart might be a little different. You know, sandwich artist, it's on there. But seriously, I don't think this guy has anything to do with this. That's the serious thing. I don't think this guy has anything to do with it. We've all received phone calls from numbers that we don't know. It's very easy to spoof a number these days. It's really simple.
instead of doing the due diligence of finding out who's connected to the phone number, or even if that phone number is even active, because currently, Your Honor, it is not.
Okay, so in your testimony, I'm hearing you say you have no idea what this is about and you have not made any calls. You don't know Ms. Woods and you've not made any calls to her at all. Am I accurate? Is that a sworn statement by you?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Woods,
Your
is
Honor,
this a voice you believe you've heard?
Yes. So, Your Honor, I would like to add this, that I filed a police report that same day. And so the police, they did do an investigation into the numbers and they did trace it back to Verizon Wireless. So when they did do the full investigation on that. And so I did also file a complaint with the owner as well. So the threat started after I left the shop. And so I did go and do my due diligence and I filed a police report and they did link it back to a Verizon Wireless user. And so when I did call Verizon Wireless, they did confirm that it is an active number from a Brandon Williams. And so they also had all of those numbers that were linked to that particular.
I call bullshit. I've worked for cell phone companies. That's not how it works. You don't get to call in and ask whose number something is. And not only that, but he's just admitted that it used to be their number. And again, it's very simple to spoof a number. Also, did she even say it's his voice? I don't think she did. I'm getting a little bit allegedly, the vibes I'm getting are somebody at Subway is stalking me, and maybe that is the case, but I mean, like, if he doesn't live there, did she say it was his voice, or did she say it was the same voice?
Person that was making the harassing phone calls. And then also, I did look up and do research on Brandon Williams, the numbers and everything. And it also stated that that their address was in Puyallup, Washington back in 2023. So it wasn't 5 years that they weren't, in Washington. And so where I don't feel safe, I would like to add that I don't feel safe because I'm still receiving those multiple harassing phone calls. And so when I did file a report with the police department, that's where they did trace back that number to that person. I do have the address. It was from a 1398 Thornhill Lane in Greenwood, Indiana, and that's where all the numbers are coming back to. Um, so I'm still getting these calls. I personally, I don't feel safe. So when I entered into the establishment, the workers, they instructed me to write down my phone number on a piece of paper. And so I wrote down my number and I handed it off to them. And that's when, like, when the sandwich was remade, the employees, they were very disgruntled. They were upset that I came back, and it was something, a really simple fix. And so when I left the establishment, that's when I started receiving the multiple harassing calls. And I did contact the owner. I let her know everything that was going on. I filed a report with her. I went straight up to the corporate level, and she was very much interested in finding out who was behind, these multiple harassing calls. And so when I did do research on this number, it said that their last prior address to Greenwood, Indiana was in Puyallup, Washington in 2023. So I don't know if they have a connection with the people at the Subway shop where they can easily come back or carry out any threats. So the threats definitely started when I got in the car. I answered the phone, and that's when the threats started. And then that's when I did my diligence to contact the owner, and I made a police report that same night in
All right,
response to that. Mhm.
thank you. Mr. Williams, is that the correct street address?
1398 Thornhill is correct, Your Honor. However, the Puyallup timeline is incorrect. So the 2023, I have been living in Greenwood since 2020. As part of the evidence that was submitted, though late, it shows a deed for a home that we have purchased in Greenwood in June of 2020. So I don't know the evidence that Miss Woods is bringing up almost feels like it's hearsay, saying that she did all this research and the police did all this stuff. But the only thing that was submitted, as far as I could see, was a bunch of numbers saying that you know, block, 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 and then one number that was a previous used number on a jetpack on the internet that I owned back in 2023. So I don't know how she's putting these things together. We brought the jetpack from Puyallup because we still have our Washington phone numbers here. So maybe they're like, oh, well, that number is still connected to Puyallup because you have the jetpack in Indiana. However, I the jetpack's ability to make outgoing phone calls is not possible. And the other thing is that we actually disconnected. We have a statement right here from Verizon from an old email saying that it is disconnected as of these dates with all of these phone numbers. So I don't know what Miss Woods is getting her information, Your Honor, but it seems like I have no ability to cross-examine what she's saying. She can just articulate it here in court without having the burden of proof that I think she should have.
Okay, do you know Ms. Woods? Mr. Williams?
Say again, Your Honor. Were you speaking with
Do
me?
you know Ms. Woods?
I do not know Miss Woods, Your Honor.
Do you have any interest in any Subway shop anywhere?
Absolutely not, Your Honor. I have no idea I don't even know what Subway shop they're talking about, Miss Woods was talking about. I have no connection to any of this. I'm just someone who is loosely connected to a phone number, and this is being the whole case for Miss Woods.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I would like to add that while he says that all the screenshots that there's no evidence that he's connected to it, the screenshots of my calls show that it is from that number, that 253 number. And when I called Verizon Wireless and when the detectives did an investigation, they linked it all back to that phone number and to that name and that address. And it's
Right.
coming, and every time
right,
I
Ms.
answer
Woods?
it, it's the same voice and the same person.
You're convinced based on listening to Mr. Williams today that that's the one who's been calling you?
I have a history of multiple calls, and then it's coming from that number. And I can also provide evidence from Verizon Wireless stating that that number was linked to that person under his name, and also the detective investigation as well. So when I did my research, all of the calls are coming back from that same number.
Right.
And
No, I understand that. The issue is, has that number been spoofed by somebody else? You've heard the same voice lots of times. The question is Mr. Williams a voice you've heard, or is somebody spoofing his number, which means they're taking his number and making it look like it's calling from his number, and they're the ones leaving you the messages? Do you have any way to determine between those two possibilities what has occurred?
So when I do answer the phone, it is that same voice. It's a deep male voice. It's the same voice that's calling and then making harassing threats. And each time I go and I block that number. So the numbers that are coming is all linking back to that person.
Right.
And so I don't know, like when I went to that Subway sandwich shop, there were two employees working that night, and I gave them my phone number. I wrote it down, and they were very disgruntled. As soon as I walked out of that establishment, and nobody was in there but those two employees that night. So as soon as I walked out of there, that's when I started receiving multiple back-to-back harassing phone calls. And this person knew exactly what I ordered, and they knew the time that I went in there. And it was just, and then I blocked them. I told them to stop calling me. And it was just multiple people. Just, I mean, I'm sorry, not multiple people, but the same voice that is on the other end. And I do identify it as the person that is here today. And once again, I just want the harassing phone
It's,
calls to stop.
hold on. Okay, I'm just having a hard time buying that it's, I mean, I know you're convinced today that it's Mr. Williams. What would be his motivation living in Indiana to do this? Any
Yes.
sense
I
what that?
feel that because the employees that were working there, when I came in and I placed the order and it was an incorrect order, they did my order wrong. And so when I came back to make a complaint about it, I felt that they were upset and disgruntled. The person that was there, she instructed me to give me her number and put it in.
Right.
I'm just saying that once, when and then she went to the back for an extended period of time. And I feel that they wanted to do that as a way to get back at me for making a complaint. And I feel that she got a family member or a friend to do that.
Okay, so that's what you think has occurred.
Yes, and that's what has happened. That was like, and it was just ongoing, back to back, and it's still been going on, just multiple calls and back to back. And when I looked up all the numbers that were calling me, all of those numbers are coming back.
I
That
know.
that
I, I,
person.
I get that. Okay. Mr. Williams, what do you do in Greenwood?
And my family have no family members that live in Washington. I have no family in Washington. Your Honor, I even have phone records from the
No,
from
no. What do you do? What's your job?
I am a life coach, but I retired from the Army in 2020, and I got a job in Bloomington, Indiana, which is why I moved here and bought a home, and that's why I'm here. I have no family in Washington. I have no connections in Washington. I have nothing in Washington to go and connect to, let alone go and harass Miss Woods about a sandwich, Your Honor. So this is a case of strong mistaken identity for whatever reason.
Okay,
It,
yeah, I get that. So are you a life coach? You're working out of the house? Are you working full time? How does that work?
yes, sir. Right now I'm looking for clients, and anyone on here who wants to be a client, I love that. But right now I work as a
Thousands on YouTube, so yeah.
as a health and wellness holistic coach, and I do that full time right now, Your Honor.
All right.
And Your Honor, I just wanted to add to that I work 5 days a week as a registered nurse. And
Yep.
I would like to add that, like,
That's
just the harassing calls
concerning
that does.
to me. That's concerning. Life coach, not concerning. Registered nurse, concerning. I feel bad. I feel like I'm getting either like mental health crisis vibes or autistic somewhat vibes. I don't know. Allegedly, in my opinion.
Limit
Yeah.
me
Yeah, Ms.
from
Woods, you
and
don't have to convince me that the getting hundreds of calls is harassment. I'm totally satisfied about that. The question is, who's the one that's calling you? That's really the issue here.
right, understood. And Your Honor, I did work with the detectives extensively, trying to find the number and the person behind it. And I called Verizon Wireless customer service, and they did tell me that the numbers were registered under that name. and
Right.
and the right so
I
and
understand
that
that.
person. So it's all the
Okay.
numbers that are coming back that are
All
calling
right.
me.
Your Honor,
Thank
can
you.
my speak? She
Yeah,
did.
yeah, Mr. Williams. Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Can anybody think of a solution to this problem? Could anybody think of a single solution to this problem? Hi, Rojo. Can you think of a solution to this problem? Let us know what you would do if this happened. Oh, to you after you went into a subway and you yelled at the people. You have to think further than blocking the number. She says they get new ones. So, what do we do? What do we do? He's filling out paperwork. Cellulite yoga pants has got it. Change your phone number, baby. Change your phone number, baby. I recently had to do that. And I have forgotten to tell some people about that. I feel really bad. But there's not really, anyways, that's a story for another day. Is that right, Bill? Courtney. Were those messages from you? That's why I got a new number. No, I was joking. Although, remember that one time. Oh, that's so funny. So funny. Judge, hurry up, please. I'm gonna make tacos tonight. I'm gonna make some tacos. And they're gonna be yummy. I got cheese tortillas for
All right, there is no doubt in my mind that Ms. Woods has been harassed based on her bad experience at the subway shop. The issue before the court is Mr. Williams, the one whose phone number, whose name has been linked to a phone number, is the one who's doing the harassment. Mr. Williams lives in Indiana, has for a while, based on his testimony, and indicates he has no family members in Washington and no interest in Subway stores or any of the employees at Subway stores, unless he's hungry. So I'm not satisfied that there's sufficient evidence. The fact that it comes back to a number isn't enough in my mind. And unfortunately, with the continuing, I'd say improvements, but I use that word carefully, of technology, the ability to make a call from one number and make it appear that it's a call from another number is pretty widespread these days. I believe that's what's happening here. I believe it's likely somebody associated with the store at issue, and somehow they got onto this number and are using it as a basis for calling Ms. Woods. So Ms. Woods, this doesn't solve your problem. I think right now we don't know who is originating the calls. I am not satisfied in any way that it's Mr. Williams who is doing so. I don't see any motivation for that. I'm going to enter a denial. I'm going to enter a denial. I have entered a denial. I sympathize with you having to receive these calls. Honestly, I think that's up to you now to you're going to have to change your phone number so that person doesn't have your number, and then the calls will end, or hopefully you've done that. But I think that's the only way to address it right now. So I've entered the denial. I'm not satisfied that Mr. Williams is the one making the call. You said you thought you identified his voice. I'm not convinced. I think you could identify a voice from 100 calls if you had known that was Mr. Williams ahead of time, but not afterwards. The mind will link those voices together as a way of trying to, prove something to yourself. But in this case, I don't think that's accurate. So I entered
Your
the
Honor,
denial.
could I
All right.
add something there before I move
You can
on?
you can ask something. I've already entered the order.
Yeah,
I'm
understood. So, Your Honor, I would like to submit additional exhibits of the address and the name of the person with the numbers all linked to that same person. And
No,
then
you
that
don't.
also supports like, mhm.
No, I, I understand that that's exactly what would happen. That Mr. Williams' name is going to be associated with that address and that phone number. I have no doubt believing that.
Yes.
What
And then
I'm
also,
indicating to you is somebody else has taken that number and they're calling you probably from Olympia or Tacoma, and they're making it seem like it's a Mr. Brandon Williams in Greenwood, Indiana, outside of Bloomington, who's giving you a call, and it's not. It's somebody else.
mhm. And then
And
Your Honor, okay, I'm
okay, all
sorry.
right, Ms. Woods. Yeah, we can't
I
dwell on this.
wanted
I have
to
other cases I have to
add
hear.
this one
Your
before you
Honor,
move on. I'm so sorry.
All
Yep.
right, thank
Oh,
you.
Your Honor,
Thank
I
you
just
both.
had a, okay,
All right, bye-bye.
bye.
I believe that Sandra just went to the bathroom, you guys. I'm almost positive that's what happened. Guys, can somebody put the command for "we got a jackpot" in the chat? I can't remember if it's jackpot or WGAJ. One of those will do it. Those were crazy cases. Tomorrow we're going to have more crazy cases. Don't you worry. I'm excited for it. But Creed's over there gambling, so go give him a hello. Tell them what kind of degens they are. Apparently they do degen shame over there. Wahoo! Do you need a muse? Do you need a muse? I need some food. I need some food. Also, you can tell Creed that I tried to forward the stream to him, but he has still not set that up. Anyways, do me a favor. Remember that I love you and I'm proud of you, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye. I said bye.
Ways down and ready to ride.